Howdy, Anson Garcia with Tier 2 Engineering, and I'm going to go over some UCCaaS video options, and we're going to also be discussing some OVC integration, how that looks, how it works, what the architecture looks like, where the media and signaling paths are, and then the configuration inside the communication manager as well. So let's get started. A few definitions. CUCM, I think we all know what that is. That's a call control mechanism that UCCaaS uses. It's Cisco Unified Communication Manager. PVDMs, these are digital signal processors that are put into Cisco routers to provide audio, traditionally audio, and now audio video conferencing. VCS, this is Cisco's video communication server. It does call control mainly for video endpoints. Now, it's important for me to say that CUCM supports a lot of video endpoints that VCS does. Now, it doesn't support the breadth of protocols. For example, remote camera control. Maybe you are a participant and you can remotely control panning and zooming. So those kind of things are not in Communication Manager. So for high-end video telepresence endpoints, it's usually the VCS that these endpoints are going to be registering to. VCSE, that's the edge, they call it expressway, but it's kind of the edge server for high-end video registration. So what does that mean? If you're familiar with Microsoft Link and the edge server, I would say it's analogous to that. It goes into DMZ. Endpoints can register to it through SSL and participate in video conferencing, on-prem video conferencing that's being handled by a VCS that's on-prem. BFCP. This is a protocol for, I like to, in a nutshell, in the very core of this, I think of it, and I've always thought of it as, how do I share my screen while I'm in an audio-video conference? It's more than that. It's an umbrella. It's an architecture. But watch the demos. You'll kind of get it. I'm going to present a few demos that use BFCP. In a nutshell, in a video or audio conference, I can share other video input devices. For example, if I have a video endpoint and I'm having a video conference, and that particular video endpoint has a few HDMI inputs into it that are supported as far as for presentation mode using BFCP, I can choose to show those other video inputs. Maybe I have another camera or a DVR or something like that. But mainly it's used to share a screen when you're using standardized audio-video conferencing. CUCM regions and CUCM device pools. You'll hear me talk about those terms. They're technical terms. In a nutshell, CUCM regions are how we control video bandwidth between devices. And not only video bandwidth, but when we're talking about video bandwidth, we're talking about resolution. How much, you know, if you got a little screen, do I need to send you a large resolution to that little video screen? No, I want to make sure I'm conserving bandwidth, and if you have a little screen, I want to know you have a little screen and just send you what I need to. If I'm going across a WAN, maybe I want to conserve bandwidth and I don't want high definition resolutions going across my WAN. So same with the audio. They took the audio world and the video world, they combined it together in CUCM, and they both, you know, whether it be audio or video, they use regions and device pools. Okay, UCCaaS and video. So let's take a look at how these components all work together. So down here we have video endpoints. Now you can see some video endpoint. We have a call manager cluster and we have a VCS cluster right here. You can see that my call manager cluster can also register these TX and CTS series and Jabber and 9971 with camera and EX and MX and C series like the CX20 and EX90s and all this stuff. They can register the call manager. They can also register to VCS as well. We have some high-end video endpoints over here. Again, you're going to have more options as far as controlling. Like I said, the most well-known one is remote camera control. Now let's go up. Let's go up one layer. So we talk about the endpoints where they're registering. Let's go up right here. Ad hoc conferencing. So we have on-prem or registered CUCM are ISR routers, and the ISR routers, in more specifically PVDMs or DSPs in those ISR routers, they support audio and video conferencing as well. On this side, VCS, they have MCUs. Okay, similar. I call them media resources. They're calling them applications here. I think they're more generally called media resources. So audio, video, media resources. Okay, and then we have some gateways out here, and then we have the expressway. So that's how we get out, right, out of our realm here. We get out to the internet this way. A320, we're going to get out to the ISDN this way, right, if we're talking about call manager. So this is how maybe if a lot of customers today, they have on-prem solutions, call manager, and they have high-end video endpoints. This is what it would look like. Okay, video audio capabilities. Point-to-point video. Okay, this is included in UCCaaS, right? You don't need anything special but a web camera or a phone with a video-enabled phone like a 9971 with a camera on it. So Jabber to Jabber, right? Jabber to Windows, or Windows Jabber to Windows Jabber, Windows Jabber to iPad Jabber, Windows Jabber to iPhone Jabber, you know, so anything really Jabber to Jabber. Jabber to video phone to Jabber, all that works. This is all standardized codecs, all that works flawlessly if we're talking point to point. It's usually positioned, right, for intranet only. It supports BFCP. Okay, now that's that screen sharing that I was talking about earlier. I put a caveat here, but it only is when an audio and video call is in session. In other words, what I'm saying here is if I'm on Jabber and I'm IMing my colleague, I can't share my screen because I'm just in an IM&P session. I am in an instant messaging session. I have to go to a full-on call. I have to click to call him, start an audio-video point-to-point call, and then I can share my screen. That is what BFCP is. Okay? Multi-party ad hoc meet me. All right? This is just ad hoc conferencing. The traditional audio ad hoc conferencing we're all familiar with. I call Jane. I want to call John, bring him in on a conversation. I say, hold on, let me conference in John. And then I call John, conference him in. We're in a three-party audio call. But now we can do it with video. It's optional. Why is it optional? Because it takes some hardware on site. These routers, these ISRs with PVDM3s in them. The best practice has always been out there. It's been out there since we've been doing audio. We've just added video, is to push these to the edge. So there was always this thought of if I have 10 sites, all those 10 sites are going to have some type of media resources so people can have multi-party ad hoc conferencing, audio and video conferencing. That way all their streams aren't going across the WAN to get mixed together, muxed, summed, whatever you want to call it, and then sent back out. If I conference in Jane, and Jane's talking to John and I want that resource to be at my prem. I don't want to send audio video across the WAN because it's only us that are there locally. So that's just the best practice that you'll hear of out there. Video switching. You'll see that in the demos. What I mean here is active speaker. So if I'm speaking, I'm the loudest speaker. That's what all the other participants are going to see. They're going to see me. They're going to hear me and see me. If Jane starts talking after I talk, then everyone's going to see her. The only caveat to that, and I'll show in the demo, is she will still see me. So video switching basically goes on the premise of the active speaker is always going to see the last active speaker. Everyone else is going to see the active speaker. Hopefully that makes some sense. Positioned, intranet only, right? Multi-party WebEx, instant or scheduled. This is optional, right? Based on the package, or you can buy it off the shelf, or you can buy it from Cisco. It doesn't matter where your WebEx comes from. It can still be integrated into UCCaaS because it's integrated at the client level, not at the server, not at the UCCaaS level, not in the cloud. It's the actual client that integrates WebEx. So we use WebEx client, whether it be WebEx on iPad, iPhone, Android, or Windows, or Mac. Auto launches from a URL, right? That's the way we get it if we send it in Outlook, or we get it inside an email on our iPad, or what have you. Now the chats, if you're in an IMP or using Jabber, it actually pops up a balloon and says join. That's something new in the Jabber clients. It does high quality video, 480p, 720p. I forgot to mention that this multi-party over here does up to 720p also. I just want to put that in there. High quality video, 480 or 720p, based on the horsepower of CPU. Okay, that's how they base it. There's some specs out there. Say if you have, you know, an XP, 1 core, you're not going to do, and you have a HD camera, it's not going to send 720p. You have to have the horsepower. The client senses that and will go ahead and send the appropriate video to the participants. PC, Mac, iPad, Androids, all that's supported. Intranet and internet, right? We extend now this multi-party collaboration session that includes video, and we're talking specifically about video here, out to everybody else. No BFCP, right? There's no standardized BFCP, but we all know that we can share our screens in WebEx, right? I forget I think it supports, I forget, hopefully I can add that to the notes at the end of this, but it slips my mind how many it supports right now. Over here, I think I have some other, maybe I have some numbers lower down in this preset. Multi-party OVC instant or scheduled, right? This is optional as well. This is awaiting certification. HD video up to 720, right? We can say, well, this supports 722. What's the difference here? Well, I can dial this. This is standard. This is normal. I know how to dial audio conference bridge and a PIN number. I know how to do that. I also know how to dial URIs. Well, not everybody does yet, but it's coming, right? I want to dial Anson.Garcia at VerizonDemo.com or something. I can remember that better than a number, an E164 number, and additional E164 number plus an additional participant code. Supports all standards-based audio video endpoints. So this is all Cisco endpoints, and their software support the standards-based codec H324. And when we're talking, there's a huge amount of clients. I wasn't even aware of all these clients. I started searching for these standards-based video clients on Android and iPhones, and there's just a bunch of them out there. So there's a lot of this stuff out there. Position for intranet and internet, right? Supports BFCP, so we can screen share, right? So we have that support. A lot of endpoints, high-end endpoints, have multiple inputs. So that's when we start getting the high-end endpoints. We can use OVC, and we can plug in a projector. We can plug in a DVR. We can plug in other screen, maybe a whiteboard, some high-end whiteboard that has a HDMI interface as well. So there's all kind of cool gadgets out there that you can plug in into and use the capabilities of BFCP. Okay, the overall architecture. This is what it would look like, and it's very similar to the on-prem version. So I'm talking OVC here. What does it look like? What would it look and feel like? Well, here's your UCCaaS right up here in the upper left. Here's my endpoints down here. Here's my customer site. Looks like my customer has a bunch of video endpoints here. Hey, they even got a CS. Don't laugh. And we got an EX90 over here, and it looks like maybe that's SX, yeah, XX QuickSet. Okay, they have an ASA, they have some kind of maybe VPN concentrator out here. And then let's see the way it's hooked up. We have UCCaaS here. UCCaaS obviously is connected to PIP. PIP is obviously connected to VoIP right there. And we want to put, we want to do this right, or put a little bit more detail there. That would be an SBC right in there, right? Okay, so, oh, we already have our SBC there. Let's just delete that. Sorry about that. So we have what would be connected to, if the customer chose to order OVC, this SBC would be exposed to their VRF. So their PIP cloud would have an interface into OVC. Okay, and then OVC natively has an interface into the internet. So this is how you can get these other standards compliance people dialing into OVC. Even though they don't subscribe to OVC, they don't pay for OVC, they haven't ordered OVC, but they can dial into someone's video bridge, a UCCaaS customer's video bridge that has ordered OVC, and OVC is plugged into their VRF. We're going to look at this architecture again. We're going to look at some calls and see what call flows, see what they look like. Let's continue on. UCCaaS, CUCM, ad hoc, and meet me versus OVC. So I think I put this slide here just to differentiate a little bit further on why you would need either. The ad hoc or meet me, remember, goes inside the resources, the media resources themselves are on-prem. It's stuck in a router, and that is my place where my voices are going to be summed together, my videos are going to be pieced together, stitched together, and things like that. It uses PVDMs. Let's see, it supports homogeneous, heterogeneous 4, 8, or 16 participants. It's based on horsepower, right? All I mean here is we support, different codecs, different resolutions. Can join in as voice, video, or just video, or just voice based, that should say. Sorry about that. On an endpoint. So you can come in as voice video, or you can come in just as voice. And then we support standard definition, HD definition up to 720, 30 frames per second supported, no HD transcoding supported. Okay, so we can't transcode one HD codec or resolution to another. All right, and it's loudest speaker, they call it active speaker. It's usually what it's called on Cisco's nomenclature. Okay, and then OVC, position for the enterprise, right? High-end. This is positioned for high-end video endpoints or standards-based. It used to be positioned only for high-end video endpoints. Now we're adding all these standards-based endpoints. So this is on-prem, very limited in its features and functionality. And this is in the cloud, right? Connected into your PIP. Your resources, your media resources are going to be in the cloud. You're going to pay as you use them. You're not going to pay. This is capital expenditure, right? And this is not. This is pay per minute or something like that. I forget how OVC is actually charged. I think it's per minute, usage style billing. So let's see, B2B connected to different exchanges. So now we're in this realm of different video exchanges, but BT and AT&T and things like that, so we can really have some nice high definition video conferencing with other business partners, and then uses Verizon Cloud resources. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, design considerations for bandwidth. I'm not going to get too deep into this. Suffice to say, video takes bandwidth just like audio. You're going to have to architect and design for this, and hopefully there's a slide I have later on. It's going to give you, it's going to clue you in on what sizing, where you need to target your bandwidth considerations. Is it in UCCaaS or is it the customer connections only? So we'll take a look at that. Regions, this is this concept inside CUCM, regions and device pools. I think I went through it earlier, but that's basically how we decide how much bandwidth two endpoints are gonna use. Maybe, you know, in the audio world, where we say, hey, I want to use G722 wide bandwidth codec locally, but if I call across the WAN, I want to use G729. I'm gonna sacrifice a little quality and save a little bandwidth. The same concept can be applied to video as well. Okay, the tested versions, in my testing and the demos, you'll see these. I'm not gonna, if you can pause this video if you want to see all those things. Let's look at the call manager configuration real quickly. This is kind of the summary. Design video resolution requirements. That's why we would sit down and design what kind of endpoints we're going to have, what kind of region strategy am I going to have, how my device pools are going to be architected, and how many am I going to have to create to make sure that I'm doing maybe possibly high quality video locally, and then a little bit lower quality video across the WAN, and then maybe high quality if I go, no matter if I go across the WAN or not, if I go OVC, I want to go high quality or high definition or what have you. Okay, so after we get that architected and put on paper, we're going to create a SIP trunk. We're going to create a SIP profile. We're going to enable BFCP so we can share our screen. We're going to create a SIP trunk security profile, and then we're going to create the SIP trunk itself. We're going to apply these two that we created prior. So those two are going to be attached to the SIP trunk. And then we're going to apply the device pool, right, that we designed for and created. Okay, and then we're going to create the endpoint itself, right? We're going to create a SIP profile, same thing. We're going to enable BFCP on that profile so we can share our screen. Obviously, we don't create a BFCP profile for a video phone. Video phone can't share a screen, but for a Jabber for Windows client, I certainly would create a SIP profile that had BFCP enabled. We're going to create a video endpoint like a 9971 with camera, EX90, Jabber, whatever. Jabber for Windows, Jabber for iPad. All those are video enabled endpoints. EX90s, SX, whatever. We're going to apply the SIP profile, and we're going to enable BFCP for the device if it's indeed a device that supports BFCP. Okay. I was going to, no, let's just continue on. I'm going to come back to this in a demo at the end of this and go through a demo of that. Here's a sample region setup. All right, I won't go through all that. You techies out there are going to understand this. I'm just carving up bandwidth between, and I just chose in my own little lab to differentiate high definition devices with standard definition devices, right? Like a phone, I would call that standard definition. A Jabber for Windows that has a high, an HD camera, I'm going to call that HD. And of course, you're going to have to put your OVC trunk. Remember, OVC, we're going to have a SIP trunk pointing to OVC, and that trunk needs to be part of the region strategy as well. Okay. I'm going to go through some screenshots here, but I will go through the complete configuration in another demo. Here's the SIP profile screenshot inside Communication Manager. So this is where you go, as far as this is where it's hidden in the menu system, right? So if we look there, device setting, SIP profile. If I would bring Call Manager over here, let's log in real quick. Device settings, SIP profile. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, ensure BFCP is checked on the SIP profile. BFCP will allow Jabber for Windows, Mac to use the desktop share. Okay, so that's just a SIP profile. Let's look at a SIP profile I have for, here's one I have, a standard one with BFCP. I named it BFCP because I went and enabled BFCP in there. Let's see, where is BFCP? Right there. So that's the that's the SIP profile that I want to create for a device or the SIP trunk for OVC. Okay, let's take a look. What's the next one? The SIP security profile. System security SIP trunk profile. Let's take a look at that. Right, I'm not going to configure it. I'm just going to show you. Security SIP trunk profile. There it is. All right, I have one created for OVC. Works perfectly for me. I'll bring it up here. You can pause the video if you want to take a look at it. All right, nothing special there. Now we create the trunk. Here's the SIP trunk, right? And then I'm going to apply the SIP trunk security profile and the SIP profile that I created for this trunk. It's best practice to name it something trunk. I didn't. I'm in a little lab environment. I use my SIP profiles for several different things because there's not any tweaks I need to do on them in this small non-complex environment. So we'll have destination addresses. So these are going to be pointing to that SBC that's connected to your VRF. And on the back side of that's connected to the OVC, right? So obviously there'd be everything we deploy in pairs. So there'll be two of these that you're going to create inside the destination. All right, or you can create two trunks if you want to, and then use route list and route groups. You technical guys will know what I mean there. Okay, two SIP trunks, route list and route groups. Apply your SIP profile. We want that BFCP because if we're in an OVC video conference, we want to be able to share a screen if we have something like Jabber for Windows or an EX90 or some other high-end video endpoint that takes other inputs, and I want to input something from a projector or my screen or something like that. Okay, SIP profile with BFCP for an endpoint. Here we go for an endpoint. It's exactly the same. We have allow presentation sharing using BFCP. So I won't show you that again, but it's in the same area. Endpoint BFCP enabled. Okay, I put this here because I put these two slides here. This one's the same as we do for the trunk, but I did it for a reason because there's something different here. In the video endpoint device, you need to have BFCP enabled. What do I mean by that? So let's take a look here. Let me go look at a phone, and let me look at, let me pick on myself. Let's pick on Abe Lincoln, and Abe Lincoln has a Jabber for Windows. Here's his Jabber for Windows device, and down here, right there. So even though we have a SIP profile with BFCP enabled, we still need to check this because we could use a SIP profile with BFCP enabled on another device that doesn't support BFCP. It won't mess it up or anything, but it's not going to work. But in the device, so we both have to have SIP profile with BFCP enabled, and the device itself needs to have the allow presentation sharing using BFCP checked as well. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, the next thing, we have to route things out this SIP trunk, right? So we create a SIP trunk going to OVC. It's terminating on IP addresses. They have 2 SBCs out there, just like our SIP trunking, exactly like it, right? And exactly like our SIP trunking, we have to have route patterns that are pointing to it. Typically it's going to be 9.at or 9 something or whatever, 800 or whatever it is. In this instance, what we want to do, since we have a SIP trunk that's going out to the PIP network, we want to grab the number, the E164 number, which indeed is this one. This is the real number, 1-866-845-2733, and then these 8 digits are going to be a participant code or a host code. All right. So, and then we do our route partitions and call source bases and all that stuff, all that other nerdy stuff. And then we want to send that out. In my case, I have it very simple. I have it pointing right to the SIP trunk. Obviously, this would probably go to a route list, then route group, and then out the SIP trunk so we can have redundancy. Okay? Very simple. It's a simple SIP trunk. Nothing complex about it. So let's take a look at what it looks like. What does the signaling and media path look like? I'm going to make a call here. This is 9971. She's, let's call this Molly. Molly is going to initiate, she's the host, and she's going to initiate her OVC bridge, the audio video bridge. She calls, signaling goes to call manager. She's going to dial that 800 number. What was it? She's going to dial 8 to get out, and then 1-866-845-2733, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, it's going to catch this route pattern. It's going to route out to this SIP trunk, the SIP trunk that we created prior. That SIP trunk is then going to signal. Right, here's the SIP trunk. So the signaling is going to go. Her signaling is going to go to call manager. Call manager is going to signal this SBC out here because that's the IP address down in that SIP trunk that we created in the call manager. And then the invite's going to go out there, and the OK and all that other technical jargon is going to happen. And then the media path is going to come up, right? And then here's the media path. Where's the media path go? It's this blue line right here. So it's going to go from her phone, this audio and video, her phone. Here's the media path. It's going to go out the local router into the PIP network, into their VRF, right, and terminate on their SBC, or terminate on the SBC interface that's exposed into their VRF. And then here's the OVC, and we have all the media resources over here that are going to sum the video and audio things together, right? So in other words, all these just replicate what happened here to all these devices that are on-prem. So all these devices on-prem would have media going across this router into the Verizon PIP cloud, never going into the UCCaaS cloud at all, never going into Verizon VoIP or anything like that, just going right into the cloud right here. Okay, going over here, summing the audio, doing the video switching and all that cool jazz that it needs to do. And then those video streams and audio streams are going to go right back and display on their screen and come out their speakers, right? So I wanted to say 2 more things. One is this is how internet people, I told you that there's all kind of standardized clients that do standardized audio video. I have standardized audio video capabilities and tap into the capabilities of phones that have audio capabilities and video cameras on them, iPads and things like that. They could come right to the internet, dial a URI. They would dial a URI this way, so it'd be Molly at join.verizon.com or something like that, and they would join that video conference. So these have nothing to do with UCCaaS, have nothing to do with OVC. They just have standardized clients. They would come in this way. Here's another person, still part of the same conversation here, that they have a Jeb for iPad. Now they're part of the enterprise. They have maybe a Junos client, AnyConnect. They have some kind of VPN, or maybe they're part of their own APN or something, and they have private wireless, whatever. They have connectivity into the enterprise, and they can either use the call manager, or in this case they use the call manager to dial the number, and it would come in this way as well. Okay, one more thing. I mentioned earlier about bandwidth. Where are you going to provision bandwidth, or have to think about bandwidth, about OVC, when you're selling UCCaaS, OVC with UCCaaS? Right here, this connection right here. So here is where we're going to need to concentrate and size appropriately. So we're going to size for concurrent calls, right? Because we know all the concurrent calls are going to go this way. Well, we're going to have concurrent audio video bridge sessions as well, and we're going to have to design for that. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to go through a few demos, and I might add more, but these are basically the ones I'm going to show. I'm going to stitch them into this. Point-to-point video, multi-party ad hoc, multi-party WebEx, and multi-party OVC. You're going to be able to see the differences between these different categories of video conferencing. Now, all these things have different capabilities, like, for example, WebEx. I'm not going to get into all the WebEx and things like that. We're just going to look at what the video looks like, just so you can get in your mind what the different video capabilities are, how to differentiate them, how to categorize them, and then how to best pick or choose one or more based on the customer's needs. Anson Garcia, Tier 2 UC Engineering, and I'm going to give you a demonstration of multi-party conferencing. This is both what ad hoc conferencing uses and Meet Me conferencing. It uses the same on-prem resources. Okay, so let's look at what it looks like. We have three phones here. We have George Washington, we have Molly, and we have Ben Franklin. Okay, we also have George Washington's PC over here with Jabber. All right, and then we have over here an iPad. I'm going to bring this in later on. This is Abraham Lincoln's iPad. So let's take a look at multi-party conferencing. Benjamin Franklin, I got a speed dial right here. Again, this is George, Molly, Ben. I'm going to speed dial Ben to expedite this. You can see Ben's ringing in here. I'll go ahead and answer that. Answering that with the headphone, even though I don't have the headphones, just so we don't get any audio feedback. Now we see that we're in a point-to-point call. So there's a demonstration of a point-to-point video call between a 9971 and a 9971. Both of them have video cameras. You can see they're green right here, indicating that the video camera is on. Okay, now let's bring in that third party and create an audio video conference. I'm going to choose my conference button here. I'm going to dial. Molly is right there. Let's see, I have her in my call history there, so I'll go ahead and dial her. She's presented with the call. I'm going to answer that. Oh, okay. And then what I'm presented with over here is the Ben Franklin call is on hold, and then Molly Pitcher is what I'm active on right now, and then I can conference her in right here, so I'll conference her in. Now we just started an audio video conferencing bridge. If you can look across, there's video on all of them. Okay, now let me explain active speaker very quickly. The way on-prem, or the way you configure ISRs with PVDM3s and this on-prem ad hoc or Meet Me conferencing is, or the capabilities of it, is active speaker. So you're not going to get the Hollywood squares and get everybody. You basically get your picture-in-picture right here, and then you get someone else, which is what we call the active speaker. Now you can choose not to have your picture-in-picture like Molly does right here. She wants her full screen so she can see the active speaker. Okay, so let's see what active speaker is. The active speaker is the one that's presented on all of the video main screens. So let's see who the active speaker is. The way we can discover that is I'm going to wave, this is George Washington. I'm going to wave my fingers right here, and let's see over here. We don't see my fingers, and over here we don't see my fingers. So obviously, that's not the main speaker. How about Ben Franklin? This is Ben Franklin here. Let me wave my fingers in front of Ben Franklin. Let's see. Look, we do see on Molly's screen Ben Franklin, and we see on George's screen Ben Franklin. So Ben Franklin right now is the active speaker. He's the one that everyone else is looking at on their main screen. So now let's change that. Let's say Molly here starts to speak and is going to take over the active speaker role. You know what? Let's change that to George, because I want to show you what happens on these two screens. George over here, what I'm going to do, George, is I'm going to enable his mic by putting on my speakerphone right here, and I'm going to start making some noise over here, so he's going to become the active speaker. Remember, it's based on the loudest voice. No one's making any sound over there. We have those on headphones, and we don't have headphones, so there's no input going on. So I'll tell you when I'm going to do it. I'm going to set the camera right here. I'm going to do it now. Check 1 2, check 1 2 3, check 1 2 3. Okay, you see what happened now. What you started seeing, I'm going to wave my fingers in front of George. Okay? And now everybody sees George. Now the question remains, what does George see? So let's look at George. Okay? He doesn't see himself. He only sees himself in his picture-in-picture. Who does he see? Well, let me wave my fingers in front of Molly. So I got my fingers in front of Molly's phone, and we definitely not Molly. And now how about Ben Franklin's phone? I'll wave my fingers there. Do we see? Yes. So what we see is the last active speaker. So whoever goes active and becomes the active speaker, everybody sees his video, and then what he sees or she sees as the active speaker is the last active speaker. Okay, hopefully you got that. If you don't, rewind the demo, look at it again, you'll figure it out. Alright, so let's take a look at, I want to introduce you or show you the capabilities of Jabber as well as far as video. I'm not going to give you all the capabilities, but I'm going to show you how we can pass audio video back and forth. So here's George Washington, his IP desk phone, his Jabber client. As I indicated earlier, what I'm going to do is put this on hold. I hit my hold button right there. What's happening here is it's presented to me on my desktop. Okay, so right there you can see resume, and I'll go ahead and hit resume there. You can see the camera just went live. I don't know if you see that little blue light right there. And then now I'm in the audio video conference. Alrighty. Okay, so let's conference in somebody else. How about Abraham Lincoln? So let's choose to conference in Abraham Lincoln. Now what I'll do here is I'll just add Abraham Lincoln. Let me, the easiest way to do that is to call him. So I only have one hand, so I'm going to put this on hold here. All I'm doing is putting that on hold. I'm going to pass it back over here. You can see it's resume here. I'll show you the capabilities how we can pass that back too. I'll go ahead and resume there. Now we are in the video conference here. Now I'm going to add Abraham Lincoln over there. So let's conference again. I'm going to hit my conference button, which is right here. I'm going to dial Abraham Lincoln. I see he's in my call history, so I'll go ahead and just choose him right from there. I hear the call presented to me on my iPad, or Abraham Lincoln's. Looks like George Washington's calling me. I'm going to answer that. I'm going to put that on mute so we don't get any feedback. Now we're in a point-to-point call. Now I have the conference button presented to me to add Abraham Lincoln into the existing conference. So let me conference him in. Now Abraham Lincoln, and on his iPad, is now conferenced in and into an ad hoc conference. Alright, hopefully that helped you understand the capabilities of ad hoc and meet me conferencing. The only difference with Meet Me conferencing is that there's a number that you dial. So let me hang up these real quick. I won't demonstrate Meet Me, but I'll show you that it actually is a button. So you see right here I have Meet Me. I would hit Meet Me and then call the Meet Me. There would be a DID that would be assigned to me. I would call that, and then I would enable the conference, and then everyone else would then call in to that conference. Very similar to the traditional audio conferencing. So everybody has a number. I'm the initiator. Instead of dialing a number in the host code, the only difference is I hit a button, Meet Me, and then I dial the number. Everyone else would just dial the number. If it was 1000, I'd dial 1000. I'd initiate it, everyone else would dial 1000, and then you'd come into that video bridge. Hopefully that helped you understand a little bit better what audio and video ad hoc and Meet Me UCCaaS video capabilities are. Thank you. Okay, what we're going to look at is multi-party conferencing in WebEx. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I've already went through these. I added one more here, and I forgot early on how many feeds WebEx supported. So it's 7 video feeds, so 7 different video feeds. Now you could have one video feed that's going out to 100 users or something like that, but 7 video feeds when we're talking about video conferencing, and that's what we're honing in on today. So let's take a look at, we're going to use George Washington and Benjamin Franklin again. These are 2 virtual machines here that you're looking at. They're Windows 7 machines. They have Jabber 914, and we have the Cisco WebEx productivity tools installed on them, as well as Outlook in the Office Suite 2010. Now there's several ways to start a WebEx session. Since we're concentrating on WebEx video today, I'm not going to go through all those, but I will point them out real quick. You could start from the one-click application right from here. You can start from your chat or from Jabber, right from Jabber in your buddy list. I can right mouse click and I can start an instant WebEx meeting here. I can be in an IM session, and I have this button available to me here where I can start a WebEx meeting as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use any of these here. I'm going to do what we typically do. So we typically will be in our Outlook application, and we will do something like a new meeting, and we're going to send that to our colleagues for this meeting. And let's say test WebEx location is here and now. All right, we'll add the WebEx information. Now I have several components that I can manipulate here. I won't go through those again because I've given demos of this capability in other, I'm going to choose VoIP here, in other demos. Okay, now I've added that. I'm going to send that off. That is now, right? Yep, 12:02. I'm up late tonight. Seems like I get most of my work done at this time. So there's my, I'll go ahead and bring up this as George Washington. It reminded me that I have a meeting here. I'll go ahead and click on that URL. That brings me right in, and I'm going to put in my credentials here. Now I don't have to do this all the time if I remember just to click that right there, or click that, excuse me. Now that's going to start up. Let me go back over here, and what someone typically would do, right, they'll look in their email and they'll say, oh, George wants me, is that okay? I'm going to accept that, no problem. And then I'll, 15 minutes before or whatever George said that, I'm going to get this notification on my desktop or my iPhone or iPad or whatever. And I'm going to click that URL, and then we're going to go right into it. This has my credentials already. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to be brought into that meeting. Well, we all know how that works. And I'll go ahead and go back over here to George Washington. And then George Washington has this camera right here. I'm going to start that. As I said before, these are virtual machines. And I have a virtual camera. Virtual camera, for you non-techie folks out there, is nothing more than a camera driver that points to a JPEG file. So that's why you see not a real camera showing someone's mug here, but you see basically a JPEG. And I'm just faking the system out, basically. So there's George Washington. He's turned on his camera, and then Benjamin Franklin can have an audio video and conference with him because he sees his video coming through. And then Benjamin Franklin notices that he has this little icon right here. He can start that video as well. And then we will see, go back to George Washington's desktop here, and we can see that George Washington can now see Benjamin Franklin. Now, we're talking about video here, so let's see what the video capabilities are. I have this little full screen view, so I can view all participants, up to 7 again, in a full screen mode here. And I see my picture-in-picture. That's me. I'm George Washington. I can put that picture-in-picture away, so I can get maximum real estate, or I bring it up I'll bring it up to my picture-in-picture again, and then I can also go full screen here. Maybe I want to get the most out of my real estate and dedicate all to video. I can do that as well, and then I still have the option to close down my picture-in-picture as well. So, okay, so let's now turn our attention to, we're going to leave these up, and I'll leave these in two different modes here. Well, let's turn our attention to a mobile device like an iPad. And iPads and iPhones work very similar. What I'm going to do is show you an iPad. Okay, we're going to turn our attention to the iPad. Now, George and Benjamin are still in a conference. And let me make sure I can get this in a video here. And what I've done is just sent an email to this person on this iPad here. So there it is. So we can see that George Washington has sent an email that came from WebEx. And I just push that. And then I get the familiar you know, please join this WebEx, yada yada, and then I can just click on that and I come up to my WebEx. So nothing fancy there. We want to look at the video capabilities. Okay, now you can see along the bottom here, I get what they call a film strip. All right, I see Benjamin, I see George Washington, and I see this blank little silhouette here. That's me, Anson Garcia. So I have the same capabilities on this. I got the same little icon here. There's a little video camera there. I know the lighting is bad here, but you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm going to just click on that, and then that brings up a preview. It helps me get my comb my hair and things like that, make sure I'm good. I wish all of them had that. Most of them just start right up. So now I can start my video here. Now I'm going to come into this video conference. Now you see the film strip below. I have myself. This is the iPad here. If I can wiggle my fingers, well, let me get off the camera here. But I can wiggle my fingers here, and you can see that I'm wiggling my fingers right here in front of the iPad. And then we have Benjamin and George Washington down there as well, and we can get up to 7 there. Okay, now I have a few functions here. Let me get a little closer here, and then I can do this. I have a little button here that's going to collapse and then only show me maybe someone's sharing a desktop or something like that, and I'm looking at a presentation, and I only want to see the active speaker. So this would show the active speaker only, and then I can put that away completely if I want. Maybe I just want to see the shared presentation. I can bring that up back. There's a little button down there. I bring that up, and then I can bring my film strip back as well also. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And I don't think there was any other function there I wanted to show. Oh, one other function. Let's say I'm looking at the active speaker, and then I want to, bring up the active speaker. I can just double tap, and that'll bring the active speaker up full screen there. And then I can go back by double tapping, and then I'm back to my film strip again. And I can pan this film strip. If there are several people and I need to look at them, I can pan back and forth. So that is the WebEx video capabilities. All right, now we're going to start with the OVC video capabilities with UCCaaS. Now we have the same three users right in front of you. On the right, George Washington; in the middle, Molly; and on the left, Ben Franklin. And over here, that PC there, that's running a Jabber client. That is George's as well. And then we have Abraham Lincoln with his iPad. And then we have another user, Jack, that has an iPhone down there. So let's take a look at these and what they look like and act like when they participate in an OVC audio video conference. So what I'm going to do is dial from George Washington. He has his 1-800 number and his host code, and I'm going to just dial that real quick. Now you can see here he gets right into the video conference. I'm going to take the camera here, and for you people that are familiar with OVC, you'll see that that looks very familiar to you. We see all-purpose video meeting there, the typical OVC display when there's only one participant in the video conference. Now let's go over to Molly, and I'm going to dial the participant code now, not the host code. Okay, and you see that she gets right in. She gets the same screen, and then video is going to start. Now we have video between George and Molly. All right, now remember, these streams are going out to the cloud, so to speak. If they were going out to our PIT network and terminating on the SBCs and OVC. All right, let's bring a third person in here. I'm going to do the same thing. Dial in a participant right here. And we have that guy coming in as two, Ben Franklin, not that guy, sorry. And we have this thing with active speaker again. So let's see who the active speaker, remember how we figured out that last time? So what I do is I pick one, and let's pick John George, and I'm going to wiggle my fingers in front of George. And then let's see, do we see that there on Molly? Yes. Do we see it on Ben? So we know that George Washington is the active speaker. All right, and then of course if I picked up a mic over here and started doing test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2, then Molly would become the active speaker, and then we can do the same test. I can wiggle my fingers in front of Molly, and you can see now that Ben and George both see Molly's camera. Okay, so let's make things interesting again. We remember on the multi-conference on-prem audio-video conference that we passed a video from an IP desk phone to the Jabber client. So does that work in this scenario as well? Well, let's put this on hold. I get that placed on hold, and then you can see on the Jabber client it's presented to me on the desktop, and we can click resume here, and then I can have more real estate to work with. Maybe I need a higher quality video. Jabber is definitely going to do, a PC is going to do higher quality video than a little screen phone here, 9971, and I can bring that video full screen if I want. And you can see on the video screen, I know the background is the same on all videos because they're pointing the same way, but there is a separate video here, and then a picture-in-picture there. So I see my two participants. One participant here, the main screen, one participant down here, and then my picture-in-picture down in the left here, okay? So let's leave that up and let's bring in a iPad. So Abraham Lincoln has his iPad, and maybe he's hooked in with any Connect or VPN'd in, or maybe he's roaming the enterprise or something, and he's going to, maybe he gets an email or something like that to join this, but we're just going to join him by the speed dial as well. So 992, he's going to join in as a participant, and he's going to come in right into this OVC bridge. There he is. You can see he's right there. You can see it's a little bit different format. Let me go ahead and mute that so we don't get any feedback. You can see this nice display, nice high definition 720p display, and then I get my picture-in-picture here, and then I get my two other participants now. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, and myself. So there's 4 people in this call now, and then the iPad and the iPhone have the capability to use the other side of the camera. So I have a little button here, and I can choose that and turn the camera around. You can see my picture-in-picture now is the other way, and I'll show you. Look at these participants over here. They're actually seeing a picture or the camera that's on the reverse side, on the back side of the iPad. Okay, let's turn that back around. All right, so let's grab the iPhone now. So let's bring that into OVC as well. I'm going to go off camera, and I don't want you to know my password here. Okay, I have my Jabber for iPhone. This is 9.5 beta, so this is coming out soon, not out yet. So I'm going to dial star 992. That's my participant code. And I'm going to come right in, and I'll flip that on its side because I like looking at video a little bit better on its side. And you can see that I come right in, and let me go ahead and, sorry for that, a little audio feedback, and I'm right in the video conference as well. And you can see along the bottom there, I see all my other participants, and then I see my picture-in-picture. I also have the same button there. I'm not sure if that's focused or not. Hopefully it is, where I can flip the camera around as well. So there you have it, OVC with UCCaaS. That's what it looks like, that's what it feels like, and that's the capabilities. Thank you for watching. Okay, what I'm going to demonstrate here is BFCP. Now we're going to do 2 different demos. One's going to be point-to-point call, a point-to-point call with audio and video, and then one's going to be over OVC, audio and video. All right, I already gave a definition of BFCP at the start of this presentation. I'm going to close one loop here. So there's 2 ways BFCP is going to work. 3 ways. 1, it's not going to work at all. 2, it's going to work through a separate content channel. I'll explain that in a second. And then 3, it's going to work through the existing video channel. Okay, so let me expand on that a little bit. If I want to share if I have 2 endpoints that are both support BFCP, and they both support the content channel, I could be in an audio-video conference, and both me and my participant can see each other's faces through the webcams. And when I choose my choose to share my desktop, let's say through BFCP, the participant or the remote party is going to still see my face, still see the webcam, or the webcam is going to continue to roll. Excuse me. And then they're going to see a different display come up, a different dialog box that's going to show them my whatever I'm sharing. In this case, I'll be sharing my my monitor, my screen, my presentation, whatever. Okay, so that's it's important to know that that's a secondary channel. So we have audio and video going through. That's real-time stuff. We're doing QoS for it. We're marking it. We're doing all that cool jazz. And then we have this other channel that comes up, another media stream, or what we call a content channel that comes up. It's completely separate. All right, now this works based on the capabilities of each endpoint. There's a lot of underlying infrastructure, SIP, SDP, SBCs. They all got to support this particular protocol and the way this works. The other way it can work is through the existing video channel. Okay, what I mean by that is, let's take the other extreme, where I have two particular endpoints. I'm in an audio-video conference again with another person, and the capabilities only exist for endpoints. They don't have the capability to do a separate channel, but they can take or put input in the existing video channel. So BFCP can kind of hijack, let's say, the video channel. In other words, I would be on my audio-video bridge. I hit a button to engage BFCP because I want to share my presentation, and my video of my face on the other participant, my remote party, will go away, and in place of that would be my monitor or my presentation, what I'm sharing on my screen. Okay, so those are the two ways it can work. Of course, the third way, it's not going to work at all. So let's take a look at how we do this in Cisco world, and then I want to show you a difference in the link world. Okay, I have my real machine here is running Jabber. Okay, and then I have a virtual machine here, Jack's virtual machine. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a point-to-point call first. Let's get up a IM first. He's IMing, and then I get over here to Jack's, and Jack receives this IM. Okay, now what I want you to see is, and I've given demos of what these buttons are before, but it's worthy to note again. Here's my add participant. So if I want to do a group chat or add another participant to this chat, I can start an instant meeting, WebEx, right here. Then I get this call button. I know I can call whatever's in LDAP. The number's published in LDAP. And then I have this guy that's grayed out. Okay, so I can't share my desktop. I want to share my desktop. How do I do that? Well, I actually have to make a call. And let's go to Jack's desktop, and you can see that call is coming in here. Pull this up over here. And I'm going to answer that, and immediately I have to remind myself to put everything on mute because you get feedback on the video. He sees my video. There's my camera on top of my monitor, so Jack is looking at me. And then immediately you see that these buttons became available right here, that share desktop, both on his Jabber client and on mine. Okay, you see that? So let's take a look at what that looks like. Let's take a look at Jack, and let's say Jack is going to go ahead and he wants to share his screen, and then he's maybe sharing. I'm going to bring up this Internet Explorer here on Jack's desktop, and then I'm going to put it away. Okay, so now we can see on my desktop I got this other screen here. See, it's different. So it's another screen that's come up and sharing his desktop. In other words, there's my Jabber client. Here's my call with my video and audio going through it. Now I see a picture of him because his PC has a virtual camera. I explained that earlier. And I would see his video, and I also see his desktop share in a different screen. So that's that other channel that's coming through, that content channel. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay, so let's tear this down. Let's go to Jack. You see at the top, here's Jack's PC here. Let's put all this away so we can know what we're looking at. Here's Jack's PC. You can see this red bar around his PC, his monitor, and that's indicating that he's sharing his screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that. We'll put that web page away, and then we'll go ahead and hang up the call. Okay, let's put that away. Let's look at the differences. Let's bring up two Link clients. This is Link 2010. Here's two clients on Link. I just want to show you a slight difference here because I've had this question before from a customer. So here's Caden, and Caden wants to talk with Trinity, so he's going to double click, and he's going to maybe send a message, an instant message, and then Trinity back here gets a balloon here in her little system tray, and she can hit reply, and she can reply back. Now look at this. I have this share button right here, and I don't have anything grayed out. I can go ahead and start sharing right now. So let's say Caden wants to share his desktop, and he can just click that. Let's put Caden's desktop away. We can see Trinity gets this accept request here. She can accept request, and then we get a different display here that is going to show Caden's desktop. Right? We should have seen that desktop here pretty soon. There it goes. Okay, I had to bring that up. You can see here's Caden's desktop. Along the top, he's got stop sharing, give control, and then over here in Trinity, she sees his display right there. Okay, so just something different. They're not in a call. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Okay, let's stop that sharing. Let's go back. Let's put those two away, and we're back over to Cisco stuff, right? Let's go to Jack again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial into OVC. Let's see what this looks like in OVC. So let me bring up my Cisco Jabber on my real machine and my virtual machine. So I'm going to warn you right now, the video doesn't work with a virtual machine. I just thought now all this stuff works with real machines, but video and OVC in a virtual machine doesn't work. So don't be alarmed when you don't see video. It certainly works on real machines because it will work on my machine and several other machines I have here. So again, don't be alarmed here, but I want to just get across the BFCP part. So the video stuff really isn't relevant right now. So let's dial into our OVC bridge. I'm the host. I have a speed dial that dials my OVC bridge, and I can see I come right into my OVC, and you can see, look, I have my shared desktop rather. So the BFCP capabilities have already been exchanged, and OVC says, hey, I can understand BFCP, you can send BFCP, and if you saw the configuration on the SIP trunk of OVC, remember we had to turn on BFCP because we want to give those capabilities, give that capability exchange and make sure that the OVC bridge knows that we can support BFCP. Okay, now on Jack's PC, let's go ahead and dial our participant code. Okay, now Jack is in the OVC bridge as a audio only guy. Okay, so but it's not germane right now. Again, so let's see. Let's go over. Let's put Jack away. And on Anson's PC here, we're going to go ahead and share some content. I'm going to share. Let's see, share my desktop. All right, you can see that red bar up here all around my screen. You might have to scroll around, but I'm sharing my desktop. I'll go ahead and bring up Jack's PC now. And sometimes this takes a kick in the pants here, so let me stop sharing. The nature of this virtual environment sometimes lends itself to not work all the time. So let me see if we can get it to work here. Let's do it the other way. Okay, and there we go. So we just got this other content channel displayed. Now Jack doesn't even have video enabled, right? He's in as an audio. That's indicated right here by I'm the host. I'm in my OVC bridge. There's only one other person. There's no people that support video, but there's this audio guy indicated by this little phone here, and it says one person in audio only. But he engaged or turned on BFCP. So this other channel came up, this content channel, and is being shared with me. So I'm looking at Jack's desktop here. Okay? Hopefully that makes some sense. Let me stop sharing. Let me put that away here. Oh, did I stop sharing? There we go. I stopped sharing. You can see that video screen then went away here. Okay, hopefully that gives you a good understanding of BFCP.